We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 192 of the Scholars of Wrestling show. I am your current, reigning, defending, undisputed Scholars of Wrestling champion. You hear that, Brian? You hear that, Brian? Reigning, defending, undisputed Scholars of Wrestling champion.
Let me soak in peace.
What did I told you. For a long time, I'm going to be holding this. I'm going to be holding this for a long time.
Because he refuses to defend.
Now, now I'm doing the whole clause. The 3 months or 3 pay-per-views, the next time this title will be defended is at WrestleMania.
Because he knows if he defends it at Elimination Chamber, it's mine.
No, because I know a title of this caliber should be defended on such grand pay-per-views, such as the Royal Rumble, such as WrestleMania.
Which means he's running for me.
So you're basically pulling a Brock Lesnar, and you're only defending it 5 times out of the year.
Oh, no. Only once after WrestleMania comes around, I'll probably defend it a lot more.
No, once WrestleMania comes around, he's not going to be champion anymore, so it's not going to matter.
After WrestleMania, if he still holds the title, he'll retire as champion.
I'm not retiring this thing. We just got it this month, last month. There's no way this title's retiring this soon. Although, retiring as champion sounds pretty good. Thank you for that clever idea.
On your head.
Okay. Taunting aside, welcome to this week's episode. I am Scholar Tarek, alongside Scholar Brian.
Hello.
Scholar Jeff decided not to show up because just the pain of the loss that is to me was just too much for him. At least he had the gall to show up.
He's overcome and can't speak about it.
Apparently so. And you know what? This is more than just the power of clear liquid. This is also the fool's tears. And it tastes delicious. Thank you, fool. Since Jeff isn't here this week, we actually decided to go double on this one. Yeah, that's right. We brought 2 special guests. First, we're going to bring Dave Castaldo. Hello, Dave.
Hello. It was so nice you did it twice.
Did what twice?
Bringing 2 guests.
Damn right, we brought in 2 guests. And our second guest is our friend Pete Anderson. Hello, Pete.
As I live and breathe. Hello, everyone.
Oh, that just felt so nice, didn't it?
It's been a while.
It's nice to be in front of a screen.
Hello, screen.
Hello, screen.
Hello, screen.
Well, you're already out of here. If it's for you to be on our show, then get the hell out. No, please don't leave. Please don't leave. All right, I had enough wearing this on my shoulder, taunting it long enough. Let's actually get into our show this week.
You wore it for 4 hours at Rumble.
I naked Midian'd it as soon as I got home, as I promised I would last week.
Oh, good Lord.
Okay,
you know the sad thing is
you can keep that for 3 months. I don't want it anymore.
the sad thing is it couldn't fit all around it because I'm just. It's just
he thought about
too
Cesaro.
much.
He thought about Cesaro, and it was all over, man.
How did you know what I was thinking?
At least
what am I denying it for? Of course I was thinking about it.
At least we know he's large and in charge.
Oh, he gave me the bar. Oh. All right, let's start this show properly as we can be after something like that. And let's go ahead and peek behind the curtain with a little bit of
backstage news.
You guys can join. You guys can join if you want. News.
I said
Royal Rumble moo.
You mooed.
I mooed.
This time it was intentional.
I mooed it on purpose.
There
yes.
you go. Get the title away.
With how many times I do it on accident, I figured I should do it on purpose just once.
Everybody gets one. And really, the biggest news that came out of this week, minus EC3, but that's on TV. This is actual backstage news.
News.
Moo. We got another one from Impact Wrestling joining WWE with the voice, executive producer, storyteller, whatnot. Jeremy Borash signs with the WWE.
Can we call it now? They lost their voice now.
They pretty much lost their heartbeat because through all the changes that Impact Wrestling's been going through over the last several years, whether it be the Dixie Carter regime. Well, he was there since day one.
Yeah, there was one constant.
The original Jarrett regime, then Carter, then Hogan, then Carter, Jarrett again, and now whatever this cluster muck of a mess that it is over at Impact now. I really shouldn't say that because I have friends that are wrestling for them, but it's a devastating loss for Impact. However, I always felt that he would make his way to WWE somehow.
Someday.
And from what I'm understanding, he's not even on the WWE main roster. He's on NXT.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Which is probably the best place for him.
But like because I remember Jeremy Borash, every year for Wrestle Kingdom, they have an English announcer along with the Japanese announcer doing it every year, and Borash did it for Wrestle Kingdom 9 or 10. I can't remember. Or
I believe it was both.
Yeah, he did both before Jim Ross started doing it.
But he was so good. No, I'm meaning like actual ring announcing, calling the guys to the ring.
Fair enough, yeah.
So he did one or both. I can't remember off the top of my head. But when he announces people to the ring, it sounds so official. Like, all right, I don't know what his role is going to be. I don't think many people know what his role is going to be at the moment because they're not giving too much away. But not for nothing, I would love to hear Borash introduce Aleister Black versus Andrade Cien Almas or whatever NXT title match is going to happen at TakeOver New Orleans. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about him announcing a match is just like, okay, now this sounds epic. You have him ring announcing the main events, Mauro Ranallo calling the matches. Can we just say that NXT is like its own brand? Not even.
I already say it's its own.
Brand,
I say it's already its own brand.
It's crazy, but
Pete,
yeah, big loss.
Pete, you're the guy who was the biggest Impact fan of all of us. Even been to a couple of shows. Did you see him live?
Yeah, I saw him live.
What's your take on this?
I love it. You know, to me, and me and Dave have had arguments in the past. TNA, I think, used to be great. But now it's just, they have a couple standouts, EC3, but everybody's leaving. And you have people like Austin Aries who can't hack it in WWE. So that, let's go back and win the title in like fucking 30 seconds. Like, no, it's falling apart. Impact. So why not get some people that have made an impact in that?
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended in that wrestling. Because you have AJ who just came into the Rumble and just made a big splash. You have Samoa Joe. People that got names obviously from ROH but also from TNA. Because TNA was televised and more people of the mainstream knew about TNA. So to have them come with JB coming, I'm stoked.
To interject for 1 second before Brian makes his point, and I heard him say like he was gonna say something, but you know, again, like I had said before, he had been through all the phases of Impact, and with everybody leaving. To kind of sidetrack for a second with TNA, or Impact as they call themselves, I kind of understand their vision at this point because if they're really going to rebrand as a whole new entity, they have to get rid of everybody. You know, because what was TNA at the very beginning when they were NWA TNA? Okay, there were a lot of familiar faces, but they also brought in more fresh faces. They brought in the veterans to help get the younger guys over, and now like EC3, who was a Impact veteran, Lashley Impact veteran, Borash obviously Impact veteran. They were trying to get the new crop over, and now it's their turn to kind of take the ball and roll with it. So, but side note aside, you know,
and we'll see how that works. But going back to his point, yeah, they're having all the people like Austin Aries. Austin Aries came back the night he came back. He won the title. He won the global title.
Impact World Championship now.
Impact World. He won the Impact World Championship in a good what, 5 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So are they really building up new talent like that, or are they gonna be bringing back the old crew that couldn't hack it in the big leagues and give them the title like they used to?
Aries has the charisma that can carry.
Oh,
a
no
company,
doubt.
You know, but
That's-
I think what Aries had a problem with in WWE, not only was he in the cruiserweight division where he kind of saw the writing on the wall that division was going nowhere. It's stagnant. The 205 Live show sucks. They have the same crop of guys there week in and week out. They're not even alternating talent. Now they're going to with this cruiserweight championship tournament. Roderick Strong is going to be a part of the tournament. You know, the likes of him.
Roderick, no! And actually meaning that, no! 205 Live.
But, you know, he also didn't have control. Ring of Honor, he had control backstage somehow. Impact, he's going to have some say backstage. Whereas with WWE, there's so many big fish in a bigger ocean. You know what I mean? Like bigger egos. And he's one of the bigger egos out there. And I'm not trying to say that as a knock on him. It's just how he always has been. But I think moving in the right direction, yes. And honestly, as much as Impact is going to suffer in a little bit with Borash's departure, it'll be better off for him. It'll be better off for Impact in the long run.
Yeah, but to put a lid on all of this, when you thought of Impact Wrestling and TNA, one of the names that was synonymous with it at all times was Jeremy Borash. So it's definitely a changing of the old guard. They're all gone now, and moving on to bigger and better things for both of them. I'm still probably not gonna give a shit about Impact
Neither am I.
Wrestling because they haven't done anything for me in the last 4 years.
Speaking of which, they're on Twitch right now. They're running a continuous 24/7 channel, and I was watching it before. It's so amazing how good they used to be.
Yeah.
And he was at the head, or you don't even have the graphic up there anymore. He was at the head of the helm, Jeremy Borash, the entire time. He was the face of the company.
Yeah.
So again, I agree with Brian. Bigger, better pastures for both of them. NXT, more importantly, Triple H I think they're gonna utilize him to the fullest of his capabilities.
Agreed.
I think his role ultimately will be more backstage.
I could see him working with creative since he
Well,
was one of the minds for Broken Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, I can see him, like you said, being more backstage, being a part of creative. But again, have him announce the title matches. I mean, his voice puts such an emphasis on this is a big match feel.
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect to any of the announcers on NXT right now, but again, like a Bruce Buffer, Michael Buffer, Howard Finkel, Tony Chimmel, whoever you want to associate with big match feel anywhere in sports and or entertainment, whatever, he has that voice.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have him announce the tag team women's and UK championship and NXT championship matches, it'll make it even more of a big fight feel. I mean, they have so much that they can do with it. There's so much potential with it. Just WWE, don't screw this up.
See, he did that in TNA too. Like he would announce the big matches,
Exactly.
and you would just be so much more excited because he just brought so much more life into the match. And you're like, I was excited for this match, but now I'm over the moon excited for it just because that little bit makes all the difference.
Doesn't take much.
And I just can't wait to see what he'll do, whatever it is they have him do. So, congrats, Jeremy Borash. Welcome to the
JB.
Welcome to a company that'll actually sign your paychecks and make sure the money gets to you.
There you go.
Couldn't said it better myself. Now moving on to the big leagues. Let's talk about the Royal Rumble. This was one hell of a Royal Rumble weekend. We'll just say right now, NXT TakeOver was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was definitely an amazing show. Enough to make Dave Meltzer get the completest hard-on in the world.
It takes a lot for him to get a hard-on.
And there was a lot to be given on NXT TakeOver.
Amen to that.
But we're here for the Royal Rumble, which let's start with the opening match. we didn't predict for the pre-show matches. So
It was basically what we thought it was going to be. There was an empty arena match, a halfway full match, and let's
the
get
U.S.
ready
title
for-
match.
and the U.S. title match, which Mojo Rawley completely.
As much as I love Bobby Roode, the United States title is where it should be on the pre-show. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and especially when Mojo Rawley is selling like that.
Oh, that was awful.
It was. I feel so bad for Bobby Roode. He deserves a lot more though.
A DDT where you forget to
Forget
lift
forget
yourself.
this is his finishing move. You have to jump,
Yeah.
but
What
very
a-
slow pace. But let's just get into the opening match, which was the WWE Championship. What does he call it? Cammy?
Oh God, why would you even do that?
The only reason no. The only reason I brought it up is just the Dragon Ball Z fan in me seeing the fan holding the sign
Yeah.
of Mr. Popo. On why Kami why?
Yes.
That's the only reason why I brought it up. But Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus AJ Styles, pretty good match for one of the competitors having a bad back.
One of the best handicap matches I've seen, mostly because of the competitors in it.
Mhm.
AJ Styles was doing his AJ Styles thing. You can't. The man never does anything wrong. That's it. And
He just shows that he really does deserve that belt.
Kevin Owens did the best he could with the injury that he has, and Sami Zayn was being the perfect annoying douche.
Yeah, you should know something about that, huh? Brian?
Yes, indeed,
Takes one to know one.
exactly. And
He holds that title with pride.
and then you get the added
Excuse me.
thing
me,
at
what
the
are you
end.
doing?
Giving him the belt.
Get your hands off my title.
You get the added thing at the end where Kevin Owens isn't the legal
Shame on
man,
you.
so it can continue on. And because at Fastlane, you're probably gonna get AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn
I think so.
for
Yeah.
the title.
I'd be okay with that.
So because Kevin Owens Sami Zayn was the legal man, and Kevin Owens got pinned. So that leads to a continuation, and it was good for what it was. You can't really do much with a handicap match. So this was one of the best uses of that kind of match I've seen in a long time.
Anything else to put on that one?
I actually have not watched that match.
Really?
I was on my way over as the match happened to where everybody was watching it.
I say watch it. It actually is worth the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I like the fact when Kevin Owens tried to do a monkey flip and AJ Styles turned it into a Hurricane Rana on Sami Zayn. That was
That's a good spot.
That was pretty awesome.
Just shows these guys know how to work with each other.
Yes.
All right, moving on. We got the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, the 2 out of 3 falls. The Usos defeating Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. Hey, I may have gotten that wrong, but I still won in the night. You and Jeff may have gotten that perfect card, but I won.
The most unpredictable. He will always win the Royal Rumble.
I didn't
Pay-per-view.
win. I didn't win last year.
You won one year.
I won the Rumble game one year. That's something I could definitely hold over these two. Well, him and Jeff.
I'm just surprised I got as many points as I did last year. This year, I normally get like 3 to 5, maybe.
You did pretty well. You did pretty well this year, but just not as good as me.
Shit happens. Shit happens. I'll get you when we're doing
Whatever,
regular
man. I'm the
matches.
Smarky champion, so I'll just keep going with it. What really can be said with this match?
Exactly what should be said. That ending sucked ass.
It's so fun. Yeah.
Oh
I'm surprised how long the first match actually went. We were actually questioning.
They were hitting finishers on each other and kicking out. What?
We were just like, did they change this? Is this still a 2 out of 3 falls? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was still a 2 out of 3 falls, and the second fall sucked ass.
I
And it's not just because
I still
Felton-
think that Gable botched that.
It almost seems like, even though they've been promoting the 2 out of 3 falls for however much time now, it's like they forgot that it was 2 out of 3 falls, and that's why the ending seemed to have sucked, because they rushed to make it seem like something that makes sense. But the other part in all of it that really, for me, it's kind of confusing, because they've had plenty of other tag matches before on TV and singles matches. They were all so much better than what was given to us on a pay-per-view. Again, I didn't watch the AJ Styles championship match to open up the show. But with that being said, do you think maybe there was an intimidation factor that you have to follow that up as well as the takeover the night before? Because I'm always under the impression, except for WrestleMania, because it seems like WrestleMania, for whatever reason, brings out the best in everybody. It's the biggest show of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Every other takeover that precedes a WWE event, like a SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Rumble now, and probably more than likely Money in the Bank, since that'll be a dual-branded pay-per-view this year as well.
They're keeping the gold. They're keeping the gold briefcase,
which is fine with me.
Yeah, I prefer that over a colored one.
Do you think the thought of following up an event like an NXT TakeOver that has traditionally been better than the preceding WWE show spook a lot of the talent? I mean, like, you have to set the tone for the show. You had the WWE Championship match. Now you're following that, and now you're preceding the Rumble match.
From going off of what you said first, were they intimidated by the WWE Championship match? I don't think so, because once again, that wasn't great. It was good for what it was. So it's like, okay,
what was
it's
good?
not
the championship match.
The WWE Championship match.
Oh, well, I said that or the takeover.
Well, going off your first point, the WWE Championship match, no. They weren't spooked by that because it wasn't fantastic. It wasn't great. It was good for what it was. So easily followable up, easily able to follow that up. I would go more with the theory with the NXT TakeOver because, as you said, every single time there's an NXT TakeOver, it's better than the pay-per-view. And the talent and the WWE talent knows that. So... And also, I wouldn't even say it's on the talent because the match leading up to the end point was not bad. It was good going up, but it was so awkward at the end. You're telling me that the most athletic guy in the ring couldn't make that jump to break up that pin? It was a botch somehow. So either the booking was really bad... And he had to try to sell it.
Someone just told the ref, "Okay, this match is going on a little too long. Let's close this right now."
Yeah,
if possible.
So
that's what it felt like to me.
It was either that or, as someone pointed out earlier, maybe they were acting like it was a one fall match and they forgot the gimmick.
I did mention that.
Yeah, so I could see that happening as well because we did. As Tarek pointed out, we were pointing out, they're kicking out of finishers. You don't do that in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the first couple falls. You take...
first fall, yeah.
If anything, a finisher would settle the first 1 or 2 falls, depending
exactly. And then you get into the full meat of the match. So that was... This was the epitome of just weird.
Yeah.
Like, you're watching it and what's happening?
It seemed out of place.
Yeah.
So
Sami Zayn hat wearing some bitch. What do you gotta say?
At the place I was at, Sami Zayn came out and they're like, "Is that you?" And I was like, because I had the hat and the facial hair, and I was like,
"Sure."
You are pretty pale like him, so you could be his doppelganger.
Can you dance like him?
No, don't try it.
Save that.
There's
for
a
after
camera
the
right
show.
here.
Save that for after the show. Save it for me.
No, today's point, I want to just care. I think that I think all the WWE wrestlers are intimidated by what NXT is doing because they put on pound for pound the better show. Whether it's right before Rumble, right before Mania, a lot of times it's just NXT brings it. So when you have the Usos and Gable and Benjamin going up right after a WWE title match with AJ Styles, who everybody loves, and a match people wanted to see.
And you get the Rumble afterwards.
And then you know that there's a Rumble coming after, whether it was the women's or the men's Rumble, you know? That's got to fuck with some people's minds. So I think that when they... Oh, can we curse?
Yes. Yeah, don't worry. This is not a PG show.
So it's... I think when it was like, oh, let's kick out of the finishers in the first, second fall, it's because, oh, we got to generate excitement. We got to have everybody be talking about our 2 out of 3 falls match. And no, the way to talk about it is, okay, he hits his finisher. That's the first fall. Gable hits his. That's the second fall. And then it's back and forth and make it where the audience is, oh, you know, that's what you want. You want those moments. And if you're going to just have the match and then have it be rushed in the ending, no, like I think they tried to make the match wow when they did too much when they should have reined it in.
That's where you're saying that the takeover spooks them out because now you're just trying to outperform and be that kind of wrestling.
Yeah, because they're young guys. Like they want to be. We could do exactly what NXT does, and it's like
you can't.
Well,
you can't. I mean, you can.
Not with the time restraint you've been given.
Yeah.
Well, true. Yeah. And not, you know, Chad Gable is a former NXT tag team champion. So, I mean, he's been there. He's done that. He knows what it's like. But, and another thing to keep in mind, too, the WWE audience before the start of the Royal Rumble pay-per-view had roughly about 5.5, 6 hours of wrestling before the start of that.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And then, you know, now we're going to be following up from this match to the actual Rumble match, which gets everybody excited. Anyway, I think this, and I'll let you introduce it, then I'll talk to.
You use this. You use that as a segue to talk about the Rumble match.
I'll use it as a segue. Yes.
Okay, because really, there's nothing more to say about the tag team match. That for me, that was the weakest match of the show.
Yes.
But moving on, let's talk about the men's Royal Rumble.
Which surprised
for me, it's just the Royal Rumble. They can have the women's Royal Rumble, but this one is the traditional Royal Rumble. And my God, this was the most fun Royal Rumble I've had in a really long time.
This is one of the top 5 Rumbles that I've ever seen.
Agreed.
For me, this had everything. Like it had the underdog. Yes.
Oh, I can't wait to hear your. Finish your sentence and then let him count.
It had the old versus new, the showdown at the end. I loved that.
Mm-hmm.
When it was Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, and Cena versus Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, and Shinsuke Nakamura. That standoff, loved it. Then they went down and it came down to the final 3. It was Shinsuke versus the 2 Supermen. That was the perfect way to pull that off and make it seem like Shinsuke
deserved this spot.
It.
Yep.
Deserves the spot. He took out the 2 big faces in the company. For me, this was. I don't think there was a mistake made here.
I don't think there was a mistake. The entire match. I was never bored. Like the match was just over an hour?
It wasn't that long, no.
It wasn't a very long Rumble, but there was never a point where I was bored. I was just thinking, God, the spot here, it's really slow.
There was enough action for it to keep going.
Exactly. And considering the names WWE has, including the NXT appearances. Yeah, there was just a lot of names, a lot of story going on, and it was so much fun.
And there was just one problem with this for me, and it was the placement.
You mean just the numbers?
No.
Who came out?
The placement on the card, because this will come into play later, but considering how this went. And the matches coming up on the card, I was completely burned out through the rest of the pay-per-view. I was after this match, because of how it went and how the story shook out in this match, it's all well and good that you want the first ever women's Royal Rumble to be the main event. It's all well and good. This was not the one to do it at. When you have what's going on in this Royal Rumble was so good, nothing could follow it. This should have been the main event.
That's why I think that only this year the women's Royal Rumble will be the main event. I think next year the women's are going to be the first Rumble and then the men's.
Yeah, it's like
it was just because it was the first.
Yeah, it was all well. It's all well and good for it to be the main event of the first one, but if you're gonna do it, then you need to make that one wow, and this kind of like last year would have been perfect for the first women's Royal Rumble.
When it comes to placement, I understood where they were coming from.
Oh, I get it completely.
Yeah, but I do see what you're saying because this was such a big Rumble, and I was pretty pooped out. I want to hear you were shaking your head when he said that this was the best. This was his favorite Rumble.
No, I said top 5,
or in your top 5, whatever. I want to hear, and then you were just like, I want to hear why.
Hello, my name is Peter Anderson.
I already introduced you. You don't have to keep introducing yourself.
It's the thing. So I agree with Brian. I loved the 6 and then the final 4. I just wish that the final 2 was Finn and Nakamura. I wish that it would send out Reigns because you had some people in the audience saying, I swear if they give it to Reigns again or if they give it to Cena, I think it would have been nice if those 2 got eliminated and it was down to Finn and Nakamura because then...
You know what I'm doing.
I think then it would have been whoever wins, awesome. Nobody's going to hate on Finn. He was my pick for the Royal Rumble game. And then everybody else picked Nakamura.
I would be fine with that reasoning. I think that this version of the win goes over better for Nakamura. Because while I can see where you're coming from, he threw out personally himself the 2 biggest people in the company, Cena and Reigns. So it's like, is it cool? Would it be cool if it was Finn and Nakamura and and there was a chance that everyone would go home happy no matter who won? Sure. But I think the hero overcoming the two people nobody want to see winning the Royal Rumble with one guy who everybody wants to see winning the Royal Rumble, I think that worked out better in the end.
Yeah, but then you have somebody where you have Cena get eliminated by Finn, and you have Nakamura eliminate Reigns. Have it where they each take down a top guy, so it's those 2. I'm not saying that. I understand where you're coming from with Nakamura and him saying, look, he took down the 2 biggest faces of the company, and the 2 biggest supermen of the company. But if they did it where, they were battling and then Cena went for something and Finn tossed Cena over and then Nakamura tossed Reigns over and then they just have a look. Now it's our time to show why we're going to be...
I would see that more at next year's Rumble than being the final 2. This one, I actually understood where Brian's coming from, and the way I look at it, Finn had his moment being the one in this Rumble the longest. 57 minutes?
Yes.
This one was, the way I look at it, this was Nakamura's Universal title win, for Finn Balor. This was his moment to show that he's going to be the big star for the future. So having him defeat, almost hit my bottle there, but at least that one wouldn't spill. Him defeating Roman Reigns, something that Finn did, and him beating the top guy who was the other top guy who was Cena, and when it was Finn at the time, the other big guy was Seth Rollins. So yeah, this was Shinsuke, the mirror image, in my opinion, Shinsuke's Universal title win that Finn Balor had. This was Shinsuke's moment to shine, and now I can see Shinsuke, AJ, and Finn being the top 3 guys of the company. If you get Roman Reigns out, for the wrestling fans, I'll give it for AJ, Finn Balor, and Shinsuke Nakamura being the top guy. For Vince McMahon, he can have Roman Reigns and
just the
And then we'll have the 50-50 guy, which is Braun Strowman.
So,
Am I wrong? Is he more the 50-50 guy? He's a Vince McMahon project that the fans are loving.
I always felt like he was a Triple H project, but that's besides the point.
From what I've read, he was a Vince McMahon guy.
Either way, while he fixes the screen. What were you going to say, Pete?
the only other problem that I had with the Rumble, the Hurricane. Oh boy!
He got Godfathered.
Okay, like it was just there was no.
You always have that one. You always have that one reveal that is just. It's a dude.
Cole from NXT, awesome. I love that. But where were those Mysterio? Great, you look in better shape than you've done in the last 10 years. Like, but where was he looked in great shape, and I was like, cool, Mysterio, you can move. Granted, 27, you take that spot, you're not going to win, thank God, but at least it's a nice little homage. Ziggles coming out at 30
That was
because
the
he was
biggest waste.
That was
Yeah,
a
but-
waste.
I knew because he was.
Unlike him, I'm actually very sad about that.
He's
Yeah, I already know. I already know your thoughts. You made that perfectly clear on this show before.
I have.
Thank you.
Yes.
But I don't want to hear you on your opinions and signals. All right.
Sucks.
I wanted that nice surprise where it's like cool, like similar to AJ when AJ
But who
debuted.
are you realistically going to get? You know what I mean? Like, okay. For full disclosure, I have zero issues with the Women's Rumble happening. I don't care if this was the first. I don't care if this was the 5th. I don't care if this was the 10th. That match should not have main evented the show. Ever. And I'm not saying that because it's a sexist comment. I'm not saying it because the women can't do it. That was so politically driven.
Mhm.
And with Stephanie McMahon being the chief brand officer of the company, you had her on commentary,
Oh God.
Maria Menounos, right,
Yep.
on as a ring announcer. I hold nothing against her, unlike everybody else does in the WWE universe. But no, Lillian fucking Garcia, have her announce
Yep.
the match.
And have Renee Young be the.
And
Color
have Renee
commentator.
Young, who actually broadcasted for NXT and has broadcasting experience, broadcast the fucking match. But that's the Women's Rumble. I'll get into that
Oh
later.
yeah.
But the men's match, like everybody has already said, that match was the highlight of the show. Not only because it's the Rumble match itself, but this one was actually good.
It was a very entertaining. I think we all can't really express any more than we already have. This match was so much fun.
It was so good, but my critiques that I have are this. The NXT guys. There was zero reason for Andrade Cien Almas to be in that match. You just won an excellent, excellent NXT championship match. Why are you going to tarnish that victory by coming into the Royal Rumble where you're going to be thrown out anyway? There's no way you're going to be winning that match.
At least he
If
was
anything-
in for a good amount of time.
I don't care about it for a good amount of time.
NXT champions
The
have been
NXT
showing up in Rumbles for the past couple of years.
No, they haven't.
Yes, they have.
Who was the last NXT champion to show up in a Rumble?
You got.
Okay,
I can't think of it off the
Okay.
top of my. That doesn't prove any point, though.
It does.
No, it doesn't. I can't think of the name.
As a reigning champion, Bobby Roode didn't go in. Samoa Joe didn't go in. Nakamura never went in. Balor didn't go in when they were champions. Bo Dallas wasn't even in when he was champion. Or Rollins.
I gotta look this up later, but I am
I
pretty
know
sure.
as
NXT
reigning
champion.
as reigning champion.
Yes.
No, never happened. But even if it did, we'll settle this later. But there is zero reason for the champion to be in that match, especially after an excellent match like that. There was zero reason for it. In my opinion, you're showing that he's not ready for the big leagues. He only got one elimination, and he lasted however long he lasted, like 25 minutes, something like that. I don't know exactly how long. Again,
I think that's right.
I didn't-
25 minutes.
I didn't do research. But why? There is zero. Now, Adam Cole, the problem I had with him being in the match, he's not going to be a direct call-up for a while yet. He's got the Undisputed Era faction that he's going with there. unless they start treating Undisputed Era like Bullet Club, where another big name ROH guy is going to come in and take over for him, kick him out, and then that's how he gets into the main roster. But that's just fantasy booking for another time.
The problem I had with Adam Cole was he got the shit beat out of him the night before.
And he basically no-sold it.
Exactly.
And then if he was in it, why wasn't the winner of that match Aleister Black in that match instead?
Yeah, I think Aleister Black should have taken Sienna.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, either or. So I don't mind NXT talent getting shine on a Rumble. I would like to see it if they're actually being called up. Or I would have been okay with, you show EC3 at NXT. You get everybody excited that EC3 is going to be an NXT product. What bigger way to do it than bring his ass in the Rumble and reintroduce him to a WWE audience that way? You understand what I'm saying? Like,
I agree.
There has to be a reason for it. It just seems like you threw it out there because other than Rey Mysterio, who I can't stand, I don't know how any other people here can't stand him either, and the Hurricane, which, is